been over a month since my last run. I have 11 days till my marathon. I did not prepare properly. It's the holidays. I kind of went off my diet, stopped running. The struggle is real. Gotta finish strong. This is the last run before the marathon. I've added a little weight. My calves get really tight, swollen about 2K in. So imagine 20K or 30K in. But we're gonna give it our best.
11 months ago, I had a vision. I was gonna complete 3 challenges that I've wanted to do my whole life. I was going to complete a 21-day water fast. I was gonna bench press 405 pounds, and I was gonna run my first marathon. I completed the fast, I bench pressed the 405 pounds, and now it is time for me to run my marathon. My marathon is the Rock and Roll Arizona Marathon. It is in 2 days, and I kind of screwed up. I did not properly prepare for this marathon. In fact, I have been debating whether or not I should follow through on this final challenge for the last couple weeks. Here's what happened. When I finished my 21-day fast, I was so motivated. I was running 6 days a week. I ran 5K every day, 5 days in a row, and then on the 6th day, I ran a 10K. I did that for 2 full months. I was also bodybuilding at the time, training in the gym 6 days a week. And I started overtraining. I realized it was too much. And I had to decide then whether I was gonna go for the marathon first or the 405 bench. And at that point, I made the decision to quit running and focus all my energy on getting that 405 bench. All I did was lift weights. I trained 6 days a week. I finally got my 405 bench press and I finished that challenge. When I finished that challenge, I tried to get back into the running and I couldn't get motivated. I ran like 3 days a week for a couple weeks, and then I lost my drive. And then I took a couple weeks off. And then I decided to do another 7-day fast. And I documented that whole process. And while I was doing that fast, I was thinking to myself, I'll start the running prep after the fast. Well, that fast ended, and I was just a little burnt out. A year is a long time to go to constantly be pushing yourself. I hate to say it, but I fell off my diet. The holidays came. I gained some weight. I just could not motivate myself to run. I bet a lot of people get to this position where they have big plans and they make a goal that's a year away or 8 months away. And by the time that goal hits, they have not properly prepared. And there's 2 kinds of people in this world. And in the past, I was the kind of person that would have just said, you know, I'll do it next year. I'll just postpone this. I'm not gonna do it, but I'm gonna wait another year and then I'm gonna prepare properly starting in June, and then by December of next year, I'll be ready to go. Or I could have just quit and just said, you know, I did so much this year. I don't have to do this marathon. It doesn't, who do I have to prove anything to? It's only for myself. And then I realized maybe this is my test. Maybe this is the thing inside me that I need to fix or heal or change. It is that thing that instead of quitting makes me say, I'm just gonna go and do my best with what I've got right now. And if I wanna do one again next year and try to do better, that's fine. But I'm gonna try to finish the challenge that I set out, even though I'm not perfectly prepared. It's kind of, if you think about it, it's easy to go try to run the marathon when you have prepared for 6 months and you're ready to run the marathon. But it takes a little bit of courage and a little bit of a beast mentality to try to go run that marathon when you know that you're not properly prepared. So anyways, I came to the conclusion, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for my marathon. I'd already signed up for it. It's already paid for. And on Sunday of this week, in 3 days from now, I'm gonna show up and run this marathon. And the furthest I have ever run in my life is 10K. I've run 10K a bunch of times, but I've never gone further. I hit 10K, I clock it, and that's it. My total prep in the last 2 weeks, I've done 5 runs. And all those runs have just been 5K. With the extra weight I've added, my average pace is about 9 minutes per kilometer. So with 10K being my personal best, a marathon is just over 42K or 42 kilometers. So I'm gonna have to run 4 times the furthest I've ever run. And my thing is I wanna try to run it without stopping or walking or taking any break. I wanna see how far I can go without walking. To have any chance of completing this marathon, I have to finish this marathon in 7 hours. I can have a maximum pace of 10-minute kilometers for the entire marathon in order to finish on time. There are cutoff points throughout the marathon where, like, when you get to 7 miles, there's a cutoff, and if you're not at that 7-mile marker by a set time, then they just send you back. Same thing, it's like at I think 17 miles and 20 miles, there's the cutoffs. My mom, for example, is super concerned that I might die on this marathon. And I'm trying to explain to her, I don't think that anyone has the mental willpower and fortitude to run themselves to death. Now, I'm not an expert. I don't know. It might be possible. But in my mind, I feel like most people's mind quits way before their body. I might hit a point where my legs wouldn't go any further. Like my legs got jelly and I just could not physically move my legs any further and I have to stop. But I can't imagine a situation where I would have a heart attack or something. But, who knows? You can't. And I'm in good health. In my mind, and this is just for me, pushing yourself till your body fails physically doesn't seem like a bad thing to me, or it doesn't seem dangerous. I feel like from all my years of bodybuilding and going to failure, it just seems like pushing yourself as hard as you can is the game. That's what I want to do. I want to test myself. I read David Goggins' book, and when he ran his 100-mile race, he had shattered his bones in his feet, and his feet were bloody messes, and he taped them up so he could just keep going. And reading his story made me think, like, I haven't even pushed myself 50% of what I'm capable of. I feel like when it comes down to it, when my mind is ready to quit, when I hit the point that people describe as the wall, I bet I'm not even at 50% of what I'm physically capable of doing. I think that most people far underestimate what their bodies are capable of versus what their minds think they're capable of. And I may have got that from Goggins' book. In fact, one of the mantras I say to myself when I was preparing 6 months ago is I would think to myself, what would Goggins do? And here I am, I'm on my little 10K run and I'm getting a little tension and swelling in my ankles and my calves are sore. And I think to myself, what would Goggins do? And Goggins is running a 100-mile marathon through freaking 120-degree weather in the middle of the desert. I know what he would do. He would be like, don't be a pussy, keep going. So anyways, I'm going into it with that mindset. If I don't complete the marathon, but I do the best I can, I'm going to feel like I did amazing. If I would have just not run the marathon, or I would have postponed it till next year, I would have felt like a loser. I would have felt like a quitter. Like I would have felt like I didn't even try to finish my 3rd challenge this year, and I was so close. I want to make my best effort in the condition that I brought. So yeah, I'm not prepared properly, but what is the best I can bring to the table right now? And there is a chance, a slight outside chance, that I could finish this marathon without walking. And if I can do this, if I can run for 6.5 to 7 hours straight without stopping right now in the condition I am, what would that do to my mindset? Like, what would that unleash in my thought process of what I'm actually capable of for my next challenge? So one of the things that gives me some hope. So when I'm running one of my 10Ks, my slow pace is around 9.5 minutes per kilometer. And I feel like I can run at that pace all day. It's almost the same as walking to me. The only difference is when I'm running, because I'm a big guy, I weigh 270 pounds, I'm 6'3". The shock of my foot hitting the ground over and over causes, this happens within the first couple miles, my feet go numb and I actually feel my ankles and my calves and shins are like swollen and filled with lactic acid. And that is the part of my body that is the weak link. I feel like my lungs are never going to give out on me. I can run 10K at that slow pace all day long. My feet, ankles, and shins are where I feel I could possibly get to a point where that pain from the lactic acid buildup gets so great. And even at that slow pace, it never gives it a chance to dissipate. Like if I stop and walk for just a few minutes, that lactic acid dissipates and I get kind of a fresh start and then I can pick back up and keep going. But part of my personal challenge is to do this without walking. I'm going to just go until I can't anymore. Now, if I have to hit a point where I walk a little and then keep going. I mean, the second goal would be to just finish the marathon. But even with that, if I walk very much at all, I'm not going to come in under the pace that I need to make to finish within 7 hours. So one of the biggest challenges I have found when I'm out running a long distance is what to think about while I'm running. I can only meditate for so long. I'll try to say a mantra or just let my mind go blank and kind of zone out for a little bit, but that only works for short periods of time. And I find my mind is constantly racing, and I'm like having these conversations with myself in my head, and it can be a little draining. So one of the things I'm going to try, I downloaded a book on Audible. Why am I going to do this to myself? It's the same thing that caused me to start fasting. I feel like I've lived a soft life. I feel like I have had a very easy life. I haven't had too much adversity, too much pain or suffering that was inflicted on me that I couldn't avoid. I've had a little, but not very much. And I wonder sometimes if I was tested, if I was pushed to my limits, how would I respond? I feel like there's something inside of me that has never been tapped, has never been used, and it may never get tapped. The events that come across my life, I may never be called upon to see what the true character inside me is. That's where it started as the seed. And I decided to come up with these challenges to test myself, to test my resolve, to see if I was the kind of person that would ring the bell. Like if you ever watch one of these Navy SEAL training movies, or you've seen what Hell Week is like, and if you've read David Goggins' book, and you can imagine, a class of 100 guys and only 10 of them make it. That's not the exact number, but 90 of those guys are over there ringing that bell because they can't go on. And I wonder, nobody knows until they go through that, how they would respond. So this is my way of seeing, am I going to ring the bell? How far into this marathon can I go before I ring the bell and my mind gives up and I quit? And nobody knows. You might think that you're a badass. You might think that you can do it. But until you actually test yourself and you get to that 5th hour of suffering, and you say to yourself, I've already done 5 hours. What kind of tricks does your brain play on you to get you to justify quitting? I need to just start visualizing myself finishing. I keep trying to give myself an excuse, but I need to just see myself crossing that finish line and just saying, thank you. I did it. I actually did it. I can't believe it, but I did it. And we'll see. I hope that clip right there of me saying that is going to be in the video when I post it. What a thought. So that's going to wrap up my 3 challenges for the year. I'm going to finish this marathon, and then I'm going to look back and say, in 1 year's time, I benched my heaviest weight of my life. I did a 21-day fast, and I ran a marathon, first ever. That's my plan for my marathon. It is coming up this Sunday, which is in a couple days. I'm going to try and get this video posted tomorrow so that anyone that's out there can see what I'm going through. Or you can kind of empathize. Think of me on Sunday and just imagine what it would be like to be running for 7 hours straight right now if you decided to go out there and do it. But send me all of your positive thoughts and prayers and love through the universe so that can hopefully fuel me on my run. All right, that's a wrap. Wish me luck, and I will be back next week to let you know how it goes. More cool stuff to come.